Hey everyone, and welcome to day 9 in the Karen Reed recap. We had multiple witnesses yesterday. A few of them weren't that important on the face of it: Brian Nagel, Heather Maxon, and Sarah Levinson. But on the other hand, they kind of were, because what we learned again from these three witnesses who are not directly related to the Albert family was there wasn't that much snow. Everyone is always talking about, oh, it's so white out, we couldn't see anything. The blizzard was happening. The blizzard didn't happen, and they confirmed it. There was no tire tracks that Jen McCabe saw when she looked out the window. Ryan Nagel also changed his testimony from last year. Now, instead of being there at 12:23:24, he was there at around 12:30. Again, this compresses the timeline, so it makes it almost impossible for the story to happen the way that the Commonwealth will try and say it happened. They want to say we have an incident in the black box at 1:38:58, I believe it is. That's when she hits him. Then he checks his phone 30, 40 seconds later, looks and say, haha, funny message, falls over in his stead. But if Ryan Nagel wasn't there at 12:23:24, but around 12:30, he would have been there when the impact occurred. His testimony, kind of the same as like last year. Pulled up behind her, the car pulled forward. When we passed her, we saw a single woman with the dome light on, 10 and 2 at the wheels, no one in the passenger seat. And Hank Brennan could say all he wanted about, did you see someone leave the car? But it doesn't matter, because if he didn't see anyone leave the car, someone must have left the car before. Because you don't drive past that car and don't see 220 pounds, 6'2". If he's leaning in to grab something, you would have seen him. If he's standing up, you would have seen him. If he's walking past the car, you would have seen him. So I don't think it was a good day for the Commonwealth with these witnesses. We also had Sarah Levinson. Oh, I messed these up. Heather Maxon and Sarah Levinson. One of them were at a party. I believe it's Sarah Levinson who was at the party, at Brian Jr.'s party, and was asked about how Chloe reacted. And she said, I've been there multiple times. I've never seen Chloe, which is weird, because Chloe is the family dog. She has never seen this dog. That tells you a lot about the temperament of the dog. We had Heather Maxon testifying like she did last year. She saw John in the car when they passed them. Remember, they are coming down Cedar Crest, and Karen Reed drives up, and they drive after. But she said, well, we were probably there like a minute later. A minute is enough time for John to get out and run up to the side door and get into the house. So, again, if the jury catches that, it's good for the defense. But we also had Katie McLaughlin, the friendless firefighter, and something weird happened. They claim they called her out of order. That's why she didn't come into the courtroom. That's why there was a lot of commotion. But I will tell everyone to go back and watch the prosecution table after he calls her. Something seems off. Did she make a runner? She showed up later. Have she said something? We know she claims to have had PTSD since last year's testimony. We have heard rumors that someone doesn't want to testify unless they can get certain guarantees. We know Yannetti have asked for documentation for those who have tried to say they didn't want to testify. But it just seemed weird that they called her out of order and she didn't show up. She was the next one after the one who came instead of her. So you can't tell me that she wasn't sitting outside being prepared, because no one knew. These were just a little whoopty witnesses. It didn't take that long. So you can't tell me, well, she didn't come in till 1. you would have scheduled her to be there, but it's all speculations. And she repeated her story from last year that was highly unbelievable. She had heard, I hit him not 3 times this time, but 4 times. She claims she took notes on her plastic glove, but threw it away and never made a report. Remember, all of these paramedics who clearly heard her say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, and was very shocked and very, oh, this is notable, never told it to anyone. And she never did the follow-up questions. With what? I hit him with what? She claims it's very important to know what happened at the scene, but at the same time, nah, it's not that important. She claims she had talked to police officers who came over and was very surprised. She said, I hit him. We know from last year, those police officers said, I never heard that. And there's that little friendship she doesn't have with Caitlin Albert. Hank brought it up, and then Bev shut it down on defense. They weren't allowed to talk about it. She claimed she had been harassed, and it was the good old sob story. But she's so uncredible as a witness. And Bev is not giving Karen Read a fair trial by denying them to pull the strings apart in that friendship that she doesn't have. We know the pictures is out there. She had this weird story about how she has been harassed before the trial last year. I don't think anyone knew anything about her until she took the stand last year and the defense disclosed all these pictures. That's when everyone was like, oh my God, no one saw this coming. But apparently everyone was harassing her before that. She also admitted to have watched last year's trial with Hank Brennan. So she's been prepping, I believe she said 3 times. That's why do you need to prep your witnesses that hard if they are just telling the truth? Again, Hank Brennan is running a defense case. He's not running a prosecution case. And all of this, it just makes in my opinion, all the witnesses seem very shady. The last witness was Lieutenant Paul Gallagher, who is now retired, who were the guy who made the ingenious use of a leaf blower to clear the crime scene. You might say, well, he did also contaminate the crime scene. He could have ruined potential evidence. But no, it was very smart, and he'd seen it once at Police Academy. He also used solo cups to collect the evidence because they hold liquid really well. This is... he's the only one of the officers on the scene who doesn't write a report either. Everyone else, well, I had someone else write a report. Well, all 3 of the other officers wrote a report. Why didn't you? And his big thing was, well, we found this broken cocktail glass. And can we please stop with the pantomime of putting on gloves to preserve the evidence? He took a pair of gloves out of his coat pocket, put them on, moved the mic away, took on the outside of the box, opened the box with a scissor he just got from Brennan, took out the Stop and Shop bag that they used instead of using real evidence bags, which he claimed is just the same, even though it's not. And then he opened it and took out the glass, folded up his plastic gloves, and put them back in his coat pocket. You can just use your grubby little fingers if you want to do that trick, because your DNA is in your jacket and is all over these gloves. It's such a stupid move. The only thing you didn't put on there was fingerprints, which you can just run against the database where your fingerprints are in to exclude them. I hate that little trick because it's so stupid. But again, he was talking about this investigation where they found the glass, but what didn't he find with his ingenious method of combating a blizzard that I can't see? He didn't find an 11-inch piece of tail light that would have been sticking out of the 4 inches of snow. What he also didn't find was a shoe that should be at the curve. They found that later when there was way more snow. Why didn't they see the shoe lying at the curb? They didn't find John O'Keefe's hat, would have been kind of easy to see, because go back and watch the video. There was no blizzard at that point. It's such a stupid story, and I don't know where it came from. But chain of custody is bonged. We know Bev don't care, but no other case would allow this horrendous investigation to go forward. There's no chain of custody. He never saw where O'Keefe was. No one took a picture. He was told, well, it was there. And he said it was at the flagpole. And remember, he did it the last year as well. At the flagpole in the border between the two properties. No, it's not. That's but the flagpole was way away from the Asian ground. And we have him saying, well, we recused ourselves because of Brian Albert's brother, who was their best detective. Well, you didn't recuse yourself enough that you didn't trample all over the crime scene with a leaf blower, destroying potential evidence. And your best detective, the guy who forgot his badge and a gun in a car while drunk, well, I wouldn't like to see your worst guy there. But I really don't know if the jury catches up on all these nuances. We know them because we watched it for so long. Again, I'm going to make a video on that. Yeah, I'm going to make a video about the blizzard that wasn't there. I really need them to show more of these pictures of the fucking snow that's not there. Sorry, my language. Because I get angry every time I hear about this whiteout, this blizzard that made it impossible. We have more snow in Denmark, and we don't get that much snow. So I think the defense should really play it again today and say, okay, so this is the snow cover. Can you tell me why you couldn't see a shoe that should be quite visible in 4 inches of snow? Why couldn't you see a cap that should be quite visible? You can see grass through the snow. Why didn't you see all the other stuff? And why didn't you find 45 pieces of tail light? Why did no one find tail light till that afternoon where there was a ton of snow? It doesn't make sense, no matter how much the other side will try and tell you there was a blizzard. There was no blizzard in the morning. Every single piece of tail light above this size should have been found easily. But let's see what the defense will do today.